Let me tell. This is the story I was going to tell you a minute ago when I brought up Kathryn. She lived in Youngstown, Ohio, but she died here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She was going to start working with Oral Roberts, and I was going to start traveling with her every 6 weeks. I mean, traveling with her, but going on her show every 6 weeks. She liked for me to make her laugh.
He's that special. First of all, he's spiritual. Secondly, he's intellectual. Thirdly, he's the most humorous person I've ever known in my life.
She's in the Hillcrest Hospital where my son was born. My grandfather died. And I'm going to see her next Monday. This is Friday night. It was a very stormy night here, lightning, and this was in February. And it was a little early for those kinds of storms, but it was just a really frightening night. But I fell asleep and dreamed that I was in a baseball field fixing to bat, up to bat, and I saw a white limousine drive up to the field and park just outside the fence. I put my bat down and ran to the fence because Kathryn Kuhlman got out of the car and she came to the fence. So I ran to her and I said, "Miss Kuhlman, what are you doing here?" She said, "I came to say goodbye." I said, "Well, where are you going?" She says, "I'm going to take a little trip." And I said, "Well, let me get my things and I'll go with you." She said, "Oh, no, where I'm going, you can't come."
Kathryn Kuhlman, I believe in miracles.
And what's a miracle in this?
Graduating from ORU is a miracle, honey.
I said, "May I kiss you goodbye?" She leaned toward me. I put my mouth through the fence hole and touched her on the lips. Kathryn turned and got into the car and drove herself. Now, what's she doing driving her own limousine? I watched the white Cadillac drive out of sight. Now, this was Friday night. I had this dream of her. I go to get my hair done the next morning on Northside. This was in 1976. The woman whom I never met before, she said, did you hear that Miss Coombs died? I said, "Coombs?" "Yes, I think it was Kathryn Coombs." I said, "You mean Kuhlman?" She said, "Yes, she died last night." She visited me that same night, earlier in the evening. The next day, which was Sunday morning, the show I taped with her in November aired on television with her praying, "You give it the Holy Spirit without measure. Give to Carlton. Wow. The best that you've got." Man, I just started bawling. She came to me, dude, and said, "I'm going." I've had several experiences that when you talked about your mother and death, that made me realize that is we must live, we must die, we must live until we die, and then we live again.